Why redevelop downtown? Why not just focus on this area of the city or that, or this project or that? And really at the core of that issue is, it really is the heart of our city, and it is everyone's neighborhood. And I know we hear that a lot. Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. And I know we hear that a lot. And, you know, can everybody see I'm sorry, I don't have my clicker. But, you know, when you see these buildings, I mean, we all recognize them, right? We all recognize the Chase Tower and Paramount Building and so many others downtown. And, you know, if I showed you a couple of pictures of, say, just an office tower or a strip center in some other part of town and took off the signs on it, you might not recognize it as easily. But you recognize downtown because it really is everybody's neighborhood. But from an economic standpoint, really I think the key that really put into action a plan to move forward on downtown redevelopment several years ago was the understanding that downtown really hasn't kept up economically. Downtown property values over the last 20 years have grown about 2%. And that's not 2% per year, that's 2% over that entire time period. While at the same time, the entire city property values have more than doubled, which is great. Good, steady growth. But we still have the infrastructure downtown that we have to take care of, the fire, the police, roads, and so forth. And so we're all subsidizing to pay for downtown because it hasn't grown economically. This is an aerial picture of downtown in about the 60s. And you can see, and some of you probably remember many of these buildings, you can see how developed downtown was. And this was the point at which downtown began its decline. Like really so many cities across the country, you had suburban flight. And we also saw, as a result of that, a lot of demolition of buildings downtown. And that's really what kind of stopped the growth in property values downtown. And the aerial that I'm showing you is a relatively recently taken photo of towards the Civic Center area. And you see the amount of vacant land, much of which is publicly owned. And so over the years, we've lost a lot of our downtown buildings and infrastructure. There's been certainly a private investment in downtown. We've lost buildings like the Emerald Hotel, the Municipal Auditorium, and of course it's not just the economic value. We lost those wonderful historic buildings that we really can't bring back. The Ross Hotel, of course the Emerald High School, which burned down, the State Theater, and really so many other little wonderful buildings, 1- and 2-story buildings that had retail in them. And if we had those today, I think that you would see retail and other uses in those buildings today. Because if you look at Polk Street and where the redevelopment has occurred in the last 3, 4, 5 years, it's been in those existing buildings, not new construction. And this is such an interesting photo to me. This is the Paramount sign coming down, being taken off of that wonderful Art Deco building, and then the Paramount sign going back up. And I think this was such a wonderful symbol a few years ago of the resurgence of downtown, of this move to bring downtown back. And it cost, I believe, close to $1 million to restore this sign and put it back up. But I think it really has become a very iconic, and it's an image you see on a lot of things these days. And so we have, I think, begun to turn that corner with bringing the existing old buildings back to life, restoring them, the Santa Fe building, the FIST with the Courtyard by Marriott, the wonderful courthouse, Potter County Courthouse, which is being restored, and even smaller private property owners that are beginning to put in streetscape and invest in facade improvements in downtown. 911 and PRPC that has put in the streetscape. And a lot of the streetscape, if you've been downtown and you see that go in, is a result of the design standards that were put in place and established what would be the norm in terms of the types of trees and landscaping and street lights that could go in. And so property owners are assured that when they invest in their property, that same standard will be held in the rest of downtown. 1015 South Polk, which is a new one-unit residential downtown, and Happy State Bank, their drive-through that's going in with the walkway treatments and the bulb outs, which help with pedestrian crossings. Polk Street United Methodist Church, which is undertaking an $11 million project, along with, of course, the Baptist Church, which undertook a huge renovation project. It's a beautiful campus there. But we still have work to do. I think if we walked away today, we would still see the kind of decline we've seen in previous years. We still have buildings and properties within the core. These are pictures taken within the downtown core, not on the periphery or some area of downtown on the edge, but this is in the core of downtown. And we still have boarded up buildings that are vacant. We still have sidewalks that aren't walkable, that aren't safe, trash, graffiti. And these are things that we still need to address. And you address those through means like security and cleanup and so forth. There's specific ways to address these specific issues, but from an overarching standpoint, you address this through redevelopment, bringing people back to downtown.